Hello, everyone. My name is Pam, and I am interviewing Alma Gonzales today. I'd like to welcome her and welcome all of you to my channel. So, today, Alma, tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the real estate world and how you got started.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. So I guess a little bit about my background, right? Because I think our backgrounds kind of influence, where we are now. But I come from a immigrant household. I'm a first generation, so I kind of grew up with the whole go to school, get good grades, graduate and get a good job, and stuff like that. So that was kind of something that was ingrained in me, right? But I always felt like there was more out there. I just didn't really know how to find it. And I actually went to college. I only applied to one college. I had never thought about like my future past high school, to be honest, even though I had a 4.0. It was just because I came from an immigrant background. We didn't really know about like how to apply to colleges, and we didn't have that, that education behind us. So I did everything myself, and I saw um, that when I got into where I was working at, that the lifestyle that was there, because I went into computer science, like the lifestyle that computer science brought me was just not like the lifestyle that I actually saw myself living. And it kind of started making me seek other avenues, right? I didn't want to be in my cubicle for the rest of my life. And I started kind of looking into like real estate and just other avenues. And I started following, Pace Morby for a couple of years, and I never really took the plunge until just a couple of months ago as a gator,
Okay.
and helping with like transactional funding and stuff like that. But, I think like everything that you experience kind of leads to where you are, and that's just how my upbringing is. And yeah, I loved the real estate journey for sure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, are there any other podcasts? I know you listen to Pace.
Yeah.
Are there any other podcasts or books or resources that you have found helpful?
Yeah, I am actually listening to a podcast with a couple of Pace's sub two students. It's called the Think Big podcast, and it has a couple of members in there, like Sam Singh, um, like they call him Mindset Marlin. I can't remember his last name. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Johnson, and Alvarez. I can't recall his name if it's Alex Alvarez or and then honestly, that has been kind of shifting my mind just to like
Okay.
a way to really get more into like the business owner and really being active in your life, just the whole mindset, right? And I've also been listening to a podcast by a couple other sub two students that are more focused on like raising capital with Kels and Betsy. So
Okay.
I've learned so much from them, and something outside of real estate would be more like Bedros Koulian. Like he's just a very hardcore, I think, gym background, kind of like
Okay.
Alex Hermosi, right? They come
Oh,
from
yeah.
this like entrepreneurial background, and they kind of like go hard. So it's kind of like you get pumped up.
Yeah, they're very motivational then, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds like you have grown a lot and learned a lot.
Yeah.
So, um, how have your goals changed since you kind of got started?
So, I came into real estate, or, the idea of like, wanting to own so many properties, right? Building a portfolio and all that. But as I continue to network with people, I see how they're living their life and what they're pursuing. I'm like, oh man, maybe I should buy businesses, or I should do something else, right? And it kind of gets you in this shiny object syndrome kind of
Yes,
situation, right?
yes, yes.
But right now I am looking towards focusing more like on midterm rentals, and
Uh-huh.
going to multifamily. Um, so there's that direction, and then from the lending aspect, since I started as a gator, right? Providing funding. I think it's more so like building that up, and being like the ultimate lender one day, being able to raise capital and help people with their deals. So I think like there's so many avenues to make money, and it's just my goals shift a lot. But I think like at the end of the day, it's about time freedom and really living the life that you want. and I think real estate is really good at applying that and, having that work-life balance.
I agree with that. I agree with
Yeah.
that. So as a gator, you're doing sub two as well, right?
Yes.
So is your focus more on the gator or more on sub two, or you're not really
So right now it has been more so on Gator, but
sure?
I am also a certified TC, so I'm also building that side, right, of helping people with paperwork. I think for me, I started with Gator because I had some money and I was just a little iffy about wholesaling myself. I just didn't really have the time. It didn't fit with the lifestyle I was trying to create at that moment. So
Right.
for me, I thought lending was going to be the way in, and I've truly liked it because just you learn so much about the lending side of things and like what can make or break a deal, right? And like what
Mhm.
lenders look for and how to be a good borrower. So there's so many aspects to learning that stuff. So when I eventually want to acquire, I can, use what I've learned and, be a good borrower and learn how to lend properly. So um, I think that I'm primarily focusing on Gator, and as I build
Mhm.
relationships, maybe like they'll help me acquire the properties.
Right.
But Gator and being a TC is like been my primary focus for right now.
Are you involved in any local REI association groups or meetups?
Yeah, I am in the Atlanta market. So we have a couple of meetups every month. And I think there's just so much value in actually meeting people in
Right.
person, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like everyone's in Arizona and Texas and doing all these cool things. And I think like when you're local, you get to at least see people actually doing it, right? Actually doing what you want to do, and you can talk to them and have like more real life experience.
Right.
It's not just something that people from everywhere else are doing, right? But something that is happening on in your backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
I have a couple of them. One in South Carolina, one in North Carolina, and
Yeah.
they actually had a transaction coordinator at the expo I went to last night. She had her own. She was one of the vendors, and I thought
Oh,
about you, and
cool.
I was like, that would be great if you could find something where they had some type of expo and you could market yourself
Yeah.
there. That
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah.
Um,
That's what I do when I go to the meetups, because I think everyone has different strengths, and if you
right.
can just help somebody, find a way to fix their problem, right? Be
True.
that solution for them. Like, I mean, it's almost like being a chameleon. I'm trying to figure out how I can help you, and I feel like I am a chameleon. I try to help you either with paperwork or with lending, or if I don't know something, I push you to somebody else. So it's kind of like, how can I help you in the best way?
I feel like the whole REI community that I have, from all the different ones that I have been involved in and met, they're some of the most helpful people. Everybody wants everybody else to succeed.
Yeah.
You would think that they would all be competing with each other, but
Right.
I feel like everybody wants you to succeed. So
Right.
I I like that. So I
Yeah.
know you have a regular full-time job as well,
Yes.
right? So tell me how you manage your time and how you kind of figure out how much time to spend in your business.
Yeah. So, don't tell my job.
Okay,
But
I won't.
I have my work laptop and I'll call it my business laptop right next to each other.
Right.
Right now I'm in a phase in my business in my career where it's not so time consuming. I'm working more when people have problems, right? I think like that's where it comes from, the whole fixing issues, and being like a problem solver. But I plan on my calendar. I have a Calendly, which I recommend everybody having, because I think as you start scaling and people start reaching out to you, you need to be very organized with your time.
Mhm.
But I try to keep the day that I'm working, like the majority of the day, since I have meetings, I try to block that away from like people not allowing me to schedule times.
Right.
And maybe I'll just, listen to a podcast, and I'll, read up on some stuff, or I'll study some videos. And then like in my afternoon, I'll focus on, outreaching to like wholesalers for like transactional funding, or with that being said, anything if they need help with paperwork. So I'm trying to offer multiple services and just different ways that I can help somebody with that single outreach. So I think all my afternoons usually blocked off, but I have to be better at time management for sure because I have a kid, so it's like I can get
Mm,
very neglectful of other things in my life. So I think that if you can structure your Calendly really well, and just plan out and be intentional with, even family time or like business time, then like it allows you to scale it faster, right?
right, right.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I think we all struggle a little bit with time management and
Yeah.
uh, probably one of the biggest things. Okay, last question. So, where do you see yourself in a year?
Oh man. So in
It's
a
a hot
year, I feel like a year comes up so fast.
It does,
Um,
but a
so
lot
I
can happen in a year, right?
yes.
Yeah.
You know, I'm I'm such a student of life. I say that because I'm always in the books. I'm always like trying to learn because for me, the way I can help somebody is by teaching them and educating them. So I think it's more so like what can I learn and how fast can I learn something so I
Right.
can teach somebody else that doesn't know how to do it and how can they implement it in their life, right?
Yeah.
So for me in a year, I mean, my goal is to have a full-time TC business, and have people that are also TCing and just creating partnerships in that business, so it can work on its own, right? You want to eventually
Yeah.
be able to step out of the situation, at least for me, because I do want to eventually build a portfolio, midterm rentals and multifamily. So hopefully, not hopefully, I am going to get
Yeah.
5 properties, in a year. Midterm rental would be like my goal, and yeah, scale my TC business, and at the end of the day, just help as many people as I can. I don't want to
Yeah.
quantify it because I
Oh,
feel
okay.
like that can limit, but I think just as many people as I can. That's my goal, and that's where I get my happiness from, just like helping people. So that
Yeah.
the more people you help, the more people you can learn from and earn from. I'll say earn from,
There
right?
you go.
Because
Yeah.
it's always a mutual relationship.
Very true. Was there
Yeah.
anything else you want to share?
Um, well, right here's my name. This is my Instagram, my Facebook, my YouTube, and I also have a podcast, a Level Up podcast, that's based on just leveling up your life and in real estate, mindset, personal growth. So I'm
Awesome.
focusing on just educating people, and there's my number if you ever want to text me, so I can figure out a solution for you. And at the end of the day, like I say, I'm a chameleon. So if I can help you with paperwork because you hate doing it, or if you just need some funds because you're a newer wholesaler and you just don't have the time to find the funds, use me as a resource so I can help you scale your
Yeah.
business.
Okay. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm sure everybody's learned a lot from you. So we
Yes.
wish you the best.
Yes. Thank you so much,
All
Pam.
right.
Bye.
Bye.